Boo-boo-boo-doo.
Presents another great new stereo LP. 20 solid hits, 20 original stars. The Raiders,
Cherokee people,
Tommy James,
I'm coming home.
the Stampeders,
Sweet, sweet, sweet city woman.
Honeycomb, Don,
Oh, my darling, not 3 times.
Chase,
I feel inside of my
Get it on in the morning now.
Laura Lee.
Stand up and fight for your love right.
Val.
Gonna stay with him a while.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Go down, girl.
Ocean.
Put your hand in the hand of the man.
Mark Lindsay, Brewer and Shipley, Dust, Davy Jones, Wilson Pickett, Delaney, Bonnie and Friends, and many more. 20 solid hits, 20 original stars on one stereo LP. Only $3.99.
Did he say Davy Jones?
There's what inside this cold reliever? Liquid. New Comtrex Liquid Gels. Liquid cold medicine inside an easy-to-swallow gelatin shell for relief of all these symptoms.
New Comtrex Liquid Gel.
The all-new way to get fast Comtrex relief.
They did it. Just in time for my year as Miss America. They created Ultimate Hold Adorn. Just one spray of Ultimate Hold Adorn with the exclusive touch top, and I'm ready for a long, busy day. Ultimate Hold Adorn holds longer and better than any hairspray I've ever used. If you've got a long day ahead, try new Ultimate Hold Adorn. Just one spray takes you through a long, long day.
Now, perfect polish nails in seconds. Lee press-on nails in fashion colors. Press-on color, no messy polish. Press-on color, no drying time. Press-on color, no chipping ever. Lee press-on nails in fashion colors. Everything you need for longer, polished nails. Lee Super Stick tabs and 20 Lee press-on nails in a variety of sizes. Available in a rainbow array of today's popular colors. So press on. Lee press-on nails now in fashion colors.
Playing all night through, but a saxophone can't, like Betty Boop can do. This little miss would never miss a chance for vocal tuning. And anytime and anywhere you can hear this lady crooning. An auto horn can go down the avenue, but an auto horn can't, like Betty Boop can do. Made of pen and ink, she can win you with a wink. Ain't she cute? Sweet Betty.
Attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. To the left, we have the largest spinner show, and to the right, we have the largest and the best. To the left, we have the holding there. To the right, to the left, right, left, right, left, right.
Now, will someone let me have a handkerchief?
Here you are.
See, watch very carefully. Always works. Thank you.
step up and get an eyeful right here.
Come on, buddy.
Oh, yeah?
ABC presents the movie of the week. Original motion pictures for television. ABC knows how to make them. We proved that with the movie of the week. This season, we're proving it again. The ABC Movie of the Weekend. Another first-run movie for television. Every week. Another season of world premieres. Motion pictures for television. The movie of the week has found its place. The movie of the weekend will too. Dennis Weaver.
Okay, Jack, I've had it. Why is he doing this?
This is a great movie.
Jewel.
Dear clumsy bellboys, brutal cab drivers, careless doormen, ruthless porters, savage baggage masters, and all butter-fingered luggage handlers all over the world. Have we got a suitcase for you?
Oh, what a meal, oh,
Hamburger helper lasagna.
for your family.
Authentic Italian taste.
Hearty robusto, but not too spicy, eh?
Hamburger helper lasagna turns your plain hamburger into a delicious Italian meal with authentic Italian taste. Curly Italian noodles, rich tomato sauce, and
And an assload of sodium.
Lasagna. Make a great meal, oh.
When he got on a plane in Portland, Oregon last night, he was just another passenger who gave his name as D.A. Cooper. But today, after hijacking a Northwest Airlines jet, ransoming the passengers in Seattle, then making a getaway by parachute somewhere between there and Reno, Nevada, the description on one wire service, master criminal.
What up, Cyberspace Cadet Cyber Fan? Fanbots galore. That's right. It's IRATE Prostate. It's Sunday. You know what that means. It's time for ice cream. We love ice cream here because ice cream is a treat. And a treat to me is talking to somebody that I find interesting. 149 shows, man. It's crazy. I'm waiting on today's guest to pop in. He said he would be late when I talked to him the other day. So that's why I put together the extra long little intro thing. So I hope everybody's doing good. Let's settle in for a second here. I did get a dono. Let's see. All right. Yeah, is it wrong that I like to tickle my prostate? This is Big Dro, not me. For $5 with a feather. It makes my milk glands lactating a gallon of white stuff. Milk! Or never mind. I have no idea what that means. But the cryptic nature of it just has me riveted. So just check out. I see everybody in the chat's doing a little free. I'm having fun today, man. It's crazy. Object of Hate, man. Of course, he was the first one to show up and show he's going to hang with his fellow somnist, whatever. Sorry. Object of Hate, of course. B Token, my man. Mason Mopus, good to see you here, dude. B Token, again, I'm sorry. FTW Neil, Spittle Buggies, Bullwinkle, it's good to see you, man. Shot Out and Tired, awesome. Moonbase Radio, awesome. Mason Mopus, I salute you. Dumbbeard, hey, that's what I was missing. Dumbbeard, hey man. Ryan himself, what's up? Let's see, did I miss anybody? Have I missed anybody yet? I'm really horrible at this shit. Kiever Dam, greetings. Madness, greetings. I salute you all. Uzi Q, hey, don't I know you? Toy ain't nice. Bonjour, sister. Moonbase Radio. I really like that name, to be honest with you. Hey, Lee Azel, there you are. Okay, that's cool. Nil, what's up, dude? All right, we're just hanging out. Stock of Wood. Yeah, Spanking the Plank, also known as playing the guitar to some people. Billy Gibbons calls it Spanking the Plank. But so while I wait for Sinrise to hop in and show up, I do want to tell everybody. All right, so next week is 4th of July, and I'm going to be doing a show here. Former guests are invited to join us during the show and come in and ask a couple questions and leave it. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on this from former guests, so it might be a happening scene there. So I'm really excited about it. Let's see if there's anything else I need to. Oh yeah, if you can't find Creem Stream number 179, it's because it was yeeted. I can't remember exact verbiage. It was something I do want to say. Hold on, I'll tell you the verbiage because I'm kind of getting pissed. Oh, it's child safety policy. Of course, because we were hurting children here, and that's a bad thing. There's never any children on my show. Anyway, so I don't know, man. Why did they do that? She gone. What up, girl? All right. So we got a groovy crew here, and it's good to have everybody rolling and feeling good. And if you're not, grab you somebody or something that helps you feel good. And even if that's playing a little, I don't know, Rory Gallagher in the background, put that on. You can jam. Yeah, she gone. I feel that, man. I feel you on that. But it's nice to see everybody groovy out there. I did want to give everybody, I talked to Trippy. He's doing better, okay? And we may get him home by the middle of the week. So I just wanted to let everybody know that, all right? We're all concerned about him and stuff. But anyhow, I'm just gonna keep talking. I didn't really bring a lot of shit to talk about. I'm gonna look at this. Always Twitter's cancerous. We can always talk about what's on Twitter. All right. Yeah. Oh. I don't see. See, it's like whatever. I can never find. I don't understand Twitter. I've never understood it. I just use it to promote this channel and the shows on it. So, what's up, you bunch of Bob Saget's? Like that, man. That's pretty clever, Josh. I like that. Because if you ever caught his routine live, man, it's incredibly funny and just filthy, just dirt, garbage, filthy, the best kind that there is. Uzi told me not to get over caffeinated, and I do it every time. Why is that? I don't know, man. I'm just gonna sit here and babble to myself for a while. This may be the whole show. I hope Sinrise is okay. We're good. Hey, Original Astrabella, what's up, girl? Yeah, she's gonna be week after next. We're gonna be the guest, and we're gonna hang out with her. She's awesome. She kind of showed up at the same time Virgie did, and so it's like, wow, these two new cool people. I'm digging them both. But I want to get to know Astrabella better. And that means she's going to be doing this thing. And I appreciate, everybody that's ever done this. I really appreciate it because, this keeps me sane to some degree. It keeps me focused. And I appreciate that big time, I don't know. It's just like good music. I love doing this show. Because each show's different. It's I guess I'm more like a jam band, right? Where you know the songs, you know some of these questions I'm going to ask, but there's always like little excursions that we go on, and I dig it. I dig that stuff. Doug Dog says he ate too much corn on the cob today. Did any of y'all know who sent that super chat? I mean, not super chat, the Streamlabs. All right, so the deal that happened Friday night is getting to a point of where I think they took my money too. So, and I don't want to go there, but it's like I may just do and stick with slabs, for that side of it because. Susan don't play nice. She's not she knows what she knows she's got us by the short hairs, and she's gonna play that hand. So, and her minions, and monkeys. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. Hear the guitar. And Sinrise will be joining us shortly. I just got a DM from him. So cool. All right, I got my questions to fire up here. Remember, people, I'll say this now, so we won't have to go through it. Jot down any questions you're going to have for Sinrise, especially those of you who know him. If you're probably going to have 2 or 3, and they're going to be probably really funny. I just got a feeling. And and of course, always open a spot for the chat to ask some questions of the guests themselves. So this should be fun. Like I said, I hate to be like promoting this thing next week all the time, but I'm excited about that too. So we're gonna have some. It's gonna be a fun week coming up, but I got to figure out a way not to get yeeted before any of that shit happens, man. Because basically they said I did a community guideline thing, but they're not gonna strike me with it. We just yeeted your show. We just yeeted it. What Streamlabs am I referencing? My Streamlabs, the IRATE Prostate Streamlabs. And now, all right, so at this point, all right, we need to be like throwing money at Mr. Trippy Poop, okay? And I'm going to put that his link in there because he's going to have a bill. It's going to be pretty high, I bet you. I just got a feeling. So please hit that. Shoot them $5-10, whatever you can. 50 if you got it. 100 if you're bad. You're badass. You know. Nice. We got a good group of people out there. Oh, and we have been joined by the one and only Sinrise, man. All right, so before we get going, I want to tell everybody, I've met you a couple of times. I think Excel introduced us, and we've been in some streams together, but we never really sat down and you and me just had a one-on-one and talked to each other, right?
Right, man. Not that. Yeah, not really. No, just maybe after a stream or something. We chatted for a while, but yeah, man. I feel bad about that. I got to be honest.
Well, it's not. This thing is what it is, right? I mean, there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of moving parts going on, and that and stuff happens, and connections are made and lost, and the way that I see it is that it's a privilege that people say that they'll do this show. To be honest with you, it's because you're the guest is the person that makes the show interesting, I think.
Well, right. Well, it wouldn't happen without you. And I feel, I feel privileged too, just to be, someone that you would even consider, interviewing. I guess I don't consider myself that interesting, but.
Well, a lot of people say that they don't think they're interesting, and it's like, well, fuck, you're on YouTube, man. If you weren't interesting, nobody would watch. Nobody would know who you are.
I'm opinionated. And when me and Ryan started this Insomnus thing, however many years ago it was, for me, it was just kind of an outlet, because I have a lot of people that I could rant into, and especially at the workplace, because it's so risky now to express your opinion, and so I'm like, how can can't have conversations with people? It's like, what can I do? Well, I guess I could be anonymous and do a podcast or something. And we were huge fans of Drunken Peasants. And that's kind of where the inspiration, at least for me, a lot of it came from. And so for me, it's mostly an outlet, and it just kind of evolved into something else. And of course, then my life changed. I completely relocated, and now that I have a full-time job where I just got a huge promotion, it's just been so hard to find the time and energy to really put into Insomnus. So we haven't even been doing the show for over a month now, I think. So we're just trying to regroup. I got to fix my computer, and we just get it back up and running again with, I guess, Insomnus Season 2 eventually.
Cool.
So we haven't given up on it, but I've been terrible. I haven't been on the Discord much at all. And, but the guys are keeping it alive. Ryan and Object of Hate they've been keeping things going, kind of. I mean, I do keep an eye on stuff, so it's been nice to see the tiny little community that we've kind of been a part of is still going. It's still there,
Yeah.
Whether we do the show or not. It's kind of cool.
Right. It's like the Resistance.
Kind of.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you take all the little podcasts and shows like yours, and Bubonics and Aircraft Sparky and Penoid, Accelerate, and quite a few others, you put us all together, and that's not insignificant.
It isn't. I totally agree. It's there's something for everybody. And it's like and I think it's a nice little spectrum of people we got. I'm not saying that the people here are on the spectrum.
Well, that would be fair. I'm sure there's some.
Maybe a couple. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm trying.
Well, I see. We picked the wrong time to be trying to start a live stream only type show, because, man, the algorithm doesn't do us any favors at all. And
well,
the only other option to get to grow a channel really is to put out written videos, like pre-done videos, shorter ones,
right?
Because and even that, with the kind of content, like if me and Ryan were to start doing those videos, that would be hard too. So it's a bad time, but I think things are coming back. I think conservatism is on the rise, and I think alternative media or whatever is on the rise. So who knows?
Yep. So what I do, all right, so on this specific show is you kind of answered like my first question. It's like, you know, how long have you been around YouTube and what made you decide to do it, right? And you answered that. So, all right, so why Sinrise and why the grinning skull with like bloodshot eyes? I like that avatar, dude.
The actual term or the name Sinrise was a typo. I think it was around the time when I was living in Vegas and I was trying to come up with either a band name or a song name or something like that. And I forget why I wrote Sunrise, but I misspelled it. I'm like, oh, because he was right next to I on the keyboard.
Yeah.
I'm like, Sinrise, that's something, I guess. It sounds like something, but it literally means nothing.
It's kind of cool.
It's short and easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't really have much of a meaning.
Cool. All right.
All right. So the avatar is just a artwork that I paid for, like stock artwork that I paid for, and then modified. Like it, you may have seen there's like an angled view of it, so I kind of redrew it in the same style, like the front view. The idea was to do something similar to what Ghastly's doing with the live video capture.
Oh yeah,
thing.
Yeah. That crossed my mind too, man. It's just like, I don't know. I don't have enough computer power yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so, but
it does take a bit.
Indeed, man.
Involved.
Yeah, and definitely. So, all right, when people hear you, you know, when you are doing the Insomnist, how much would you say is you? You know, like the real you. What are people getting?
I mean, it's 99.9% me, I guess.
Okay.
Less because I spent 20 years trying to make it in music as a singer, and so that was a lot more performative. You know, it's me, or some of me is up there, but it's a performance, right? I'm not always that pissed off. It's like you got to put something like that into a show like that. But the cool thing about these live streams, especially being anonymous, it's like you don't really have to act. The effort, at least for me, the effort is in keeping my energy up, and because I'll fall into where I start to mumble. So it takes effort, but you know, the whole idea was that it was just an honest take on whatever's going on. You know, me and Ryan, and I met Ryan at a we kind of met in the Drunken Peasants chat somehow. I don't know what it was that we go back and forth, and then we ended up at the Seattle meetup. So I won they called it the green ticket, where they had 5 random patron subscribers. The Drunken Peasants. This was back when it was a different show than it is now, but it was back when there was TJ and his brother and Ben and Paul, all 4 of those guys doing the show, and they had this little random drawing from all their Patreon supporters that 5 people would get to come and hang out with them for a couple days and be on the show. And I actually won that, so I was on the show, and it was so much fun, and I had been thinking about doing something like that. And Ryan was there too, and we both ended up kind of hanging out late with Ben, and then later, once I was back home, I'm like, you know what? Ryan seems like he'd be a good fit. And I called him up, and we just started doing it. And it's funny because all the old Insomnist shows are gone. We deleted them off of YouTube, but man, we had no kind of direction at all. Not that we have much of one now, but it's changed a lot. And we did kind of find somewhat of a groove.
Right.
You know, and then the whole kind of looking back on recent history, like the Waco thing. I don't know. That's
been fascinating. Yeah,
people seem to like it. I never would have predicted that, and I think it's a cool idea. So I think we're going to kind of keep going down that direction and see if it can
those surgical deep dives.
Yeah,
yeah, it's good stuff. It's you know, it's not heady to the point of where it's ununderstandable. I really like the commentary. and it's like I claim I don't claim to be intelligent. I'm a smooth brain, and I like it when something sophisticated can be communicated to me in a way that I understand it, right?
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Because I don't know. I've always seen Ryan as kind of the brains of the operation. He is the one who drives the content. I mean, he comes up with 99% of the ideas. I do most of the graphics and technical stuff. I'm a lot better at that. Not than him. That I'm better at that than coming up with content. Because I'm interested in everything. So, like when I've tried to put the show together a couple times by myself without Ryan's help, and it was bad. He's really good at picking topics. He has a way of knowing what other people are interested in, and so I've always kind of left that to him. And it to me it works, and sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough and stuff, but it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, Ryan really, I got to give him most of the credit for the continuing. I mean, I created Insomnus. I did the logo and got it all kind of going, but he's really carried a lot of the weight of it. And then Object of Hate too, he just kind of jumped in. We weren't like looking for someone. We weren't asking people to help. He just started helping, and he's just been taking the initiative, and he's contributed a great deal to the content of the show and keep things going. He's really active in Discord. So, I mean, he's pretty much, for all intents and purposes, Object of Hate is a member of Insomnus, and that's really just because he's just been there and done it. It's not a necessarily official thing or whatever, but it might as well be at this point.
Indeed. All right, this is the point in my questions where I kind of get a little more personal. And and I always open up with, is there a food from your childhood that you hated, but now as an adult you actually like it?
A food from my childhood?
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Not really. Like I didn't try sushi until I was like 27.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh my God, I can't believe I turned my nose up at the idea of this, because it's amazing.
It is really good.
I would always think, ew, sushi, ew, raw fish, gross. But it turns out to be super good, and I don't know if that counts, but
dude, especially if you get a good piece of like a yellowfin, and it just melts in your mouth. It's really dude, I'm down with that.
Nothing like I imagined it would be. Just like sashimi, just raw fish.
Yeah, man.
Like I never would have tried it as a kid, but when I became more adventurous, I guess when I got older, I'm just like, I'm gonna try it. It's like, I can't believe I waited all this time.
Right. Cool. All right. So if you could use one word to describe your family, what would that be?
One word to describe my whole family?
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, what I consider my family, or
growing up? Yeah.
Difficult.
Right?
If it's just one word, just difficult. Like my dad he's an impossible person. He's a total narcissist, workaholic, old school, just a lot of bad combinations. Raised by an alcoholic, but never became one. Just a wild kid, but developed he's got the self-discipline of a monk, and so it was really, really tough, like growing up in those conditions, because all he cared about was getting stuff done and working. So every summer vacation I had, I worked for him. Every vacation was a chore. There was very little downtime or just relaxation or just having fun. It was mostly unpleasant because he's just such an intense, just kind of a dick. And that was probably the that described 90% of growing up for me was trying to avoid my dad.
Yeah.
Or at least hoping if I had to be with him all day, there'd be somebody else there, but yeah, difficult is probably the best word.
So who would you say was your main influence as a child?
In terms of what, just like how I want to be, like who I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, well, the way I work these questions is kind of like for you to answer them the way you want to, you perceive it, right? To some people, an influential person from their childhood is like, Jules Verne, right? And then some people it's like their grandmother. And so that's kind of like, that's why I leave the questions kind of vague like that, so you can explore, because the idea here is to let everybody who like is familiar with your content and stuff see kind of a different side of you, but still see you, right?
Yeah.
And that's yeah. So what kind of kid were you? It sounded like you worked for your dad a lot.
I was sheltered. I didn't know about things like, I didn't know about alcohol, drugs. I didn't even know about heavy metal, which I discovered a little later, like around 22 or 3. I actually discovered metal, which is like, I can't even imagine not having the bands that I love, to listen to now. Like the fact that I didn't grow up like most of my friends listening to irreverent kind of like heavier music, rock and roll stuff. I just listened to what was on the radio, what my mom listened to. I had no idea it even existed. I didn't even know I could rebel.
Right.
So,
was your house a religious house?
You're like default Christian. Like we would go to church like 3 or 4 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents told me about Christianity and I understood it, but I didn't really embrace it until my last few years of high school. When I kind of found it on my own and got really involved with the church and youth group, and I went to a Christian college, and I've been to probably 1,000 different churches in my life, and then I fell away from it for a long time. Consider myself an atheist, but the more I look back on it, as much as I learned, it was very much an angry reaction to my dissatisfaction with Christians themselves and how they would be, all devout and just all about it on Sunday, but then the rest of the week they were just kind of like regular people, and then they would come back, and it was just like weird back and forth, all this drama, and no one ever seemed to really learn anything or make any progress. And I started asking a lot of questions along those lines.
Right.
The typical question a young person asks when they're faced with, why do good things, or why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen to bad people? Why, how does free will fit into all this? And I guess I had so much introspection and time to think when I was a kid that I asked a lot of questions that none of my peers really seemed to be too concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
So the youth pastors and stuff, they didn't really have the answers, and they would just say, we just need to have faith. Just need to trust that God has a plan, and you don't need to know that answer, or God doesn't really want you to understand that. And those answers, I never accepted that. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to leave the church then. I'm going to go seek my answer elsewhere.
Yeah. Woefully inadequate answers.
Yeah. And I found a lot of answers and found a lot more questions, but I ended up kind of back where I started and realizing that I consider myself a Christian, although I do disagree with a lot of common beliefs or assumptions or talking points, whatever you want to call them, that you'll find in a lot of modern Christianity. But my values never really changed. My commitment, try to live with integrity and honesty and try to treat people with dignity and all those good things that you learn, especially stuff that what I think Jesus was trying to teach people or trying to get across. I've always just lived like that, or at least tried to. I mean, even when I was an atheist, I had a hard time identifying with a lot of people who just seemed to be mad at God, and they would rebel to the point that I never got to, like just with degeneracy and like really getting into drugs or just getting into trouble. I never really went down that road,
right.
because I've always been serious about trying to be a better person, trying to learn more, trying to be more successful in terms of just, I don't know, life in general, not necessarily making a lot of money, but being able to get what I want and be happy, and also, have some kind of positive impact on the world, not just be alive and then die and have done nothing. So regardless of what my specific beliefs have ever been, I've always been focused on who I am as a person.
Right.
The definition have always been less important to me than how I actually live. And that's where I find myself different with a lot of other Christians. Is there's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of dogma, a lot of philosophy, but to me, the way I see it is your beliefs are born out in your behavior.
Right.
And what you say you believe, I don't know, whatever. You can say anything you want. I'm gonna pay attention to what you do.
Right. That's what people see, man. Yep. You're absolutely right.
I mean, that's just kind of sort of been my, I guess, journey in terms of like, who I am or whatever. And yeah, I definitely consider myself a Christian, and but I'm still irreverent and inquisitive and independent, and but I've realized that I can't do it all myself. I'm not the end all be all, and everybody needs guidance. Everybody needs to be reminded of what's right and wrong. So
absolutely, yeah, cool. All right, so let's like what about your school days? I'll go ahead and just clump it all together, like, elementary, middle school, and high school. What was that experience like for you?
Also pretty difficult, because I'm what they would call on the spectrum these days. But when I was a kid in the late 80s, they just thought I was dumb. I used to have to get hearing tests and all kinds of weird stuff trying to figure out what was wrong with me, and I just didn't give a shit. Like, I wasn't interested in
you weren't challenged
in what they were trying to teach, but it was more of like the way, because I love to learn, and I've always loved to learn, but to me the why has always been more important than the how, and they don't really go into that, especially in earlier education when they're just trying to teach you to read and write,
right,
math.
Right.
It's all about getting the right answer. It's all about following the instructions. But my brain's always why? Why does 2 + 2 = 4? Why do you use X? Why do you use A? What? And a lot of those questions aren't important, but it affects my thought process when I don't understand why. Why I get stuck on stuff a lot, and they just kind of thought I was dumb. But in 4th grade, they had I forget what school it was, some school in the Bay Area where we were living, and they called it the alternative program, and they had kind of changed up the way that they taught by trying to make it more tactile and more constructive, where you have to build something or create something. And I really did well in that environment. But then after that, we moved. I went to middle school, completely different school, and it was just the same shit. And then when we moved to the small town where I'm living now, in like '89, and I started high school in '90, it was just the same old rote learning. There was no other kind of programs for any kids that had learning disabilities or difficult, or just different learning styles.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a hard time in high school too. I didn't get the greatest grades, and I wasn't exactly very socially aware, because I had been sheltered most of my life. So I didn't know what was cool, or I didn't know anything about, contemporary music or anything like that. So I have a lot of friends either. And I just hated it. I hated every second of high school. All I wanted to do was graduate and get out.
So this question, all right, so do you plan on going on your 20-year class reunion?
I already did.
Yeah, oh, you did go?
Yeah, I graduated in '94, so we've already had our 20. I guess the next one's 30.
Yeah.
How
was that?
Yeah, that was weird.
No shit, they're always weird. It's funny.
Yeah. I was still kind of in this was like well, 2000, what would it have been? 20 years after 94 would have been for 2014? Is that 20 years from 94? 2014?
Yeah.
Maybe Tech can help me.
Yeah.
Simple math when I'm talking. So yeah, so that was before Trump. So I was still kind of in the bit of more of a leftist mindset. And whereas when I was right as I graduated high school, I was hardcore Christian conservative. So everyone remembers me that way. But I had gotten a lot more liberal over the 20 years because I didn't go to my 10-year reunion. So people are still looking at me like they did in high school, but then they realize, oh, he's not quite as much of a dick as he was then. So it was fun too, but it was a little weird.
Well, yeah. And a lot of people, it's like, if you're exactly the same as you were in your like teens and early 20s, I don't know, man. I think that growth and change is essential to, becoming. See, I'm big on integrity, and I'm big on, putting in and trying to give, and I think that that's real important to, I don't know, to have integrity and stick by your guns like that. That's very, I admire that kind of thing in people.
Me too, and I've always admired, like you asked me who influenced me. I mean, beyond my dad, trying to not be like him. But I mean, he taught me a lot of really good stuff too. Like I had more job experience by the time I was 15 than most people twice my age. But I had no social, experience. But I've always admired people who maintained integrity even when it didn't benefit them.
Right.
For instance, like one of the best examples I can think of is Randy Blythe, the lead singer of Lamb of God. They're not a Christian band, but they use that term. It's a long story. But anyway, they were doing a show in the Czech Republic and somebody died. A kid died and hit his head and died. And they had already come back to the States when they found out that this happened. And the Czech authorities were like, hey, you gotta come back here and answer for your crime, and we have to go through a court process, and their legal system is a little different over there. They're like, someone has died and we think you're responsible, because they had some video of him. It kind of looked like he pushed someone off the stage. A fan who jumped up, it looked like he pushed him off. So that's all they really knew at the time. So this dude, and if you know any of the history of Lamb of God, you've seen other documentaries, if there's a couple, he's just a hard drinking, heavy metal singer, crazy dude, right? And you wouldn't expect him to give a shit. Dude didn't have to leave and come back to the Czech Republic to face the accusations, but he did it anyway, knowing that there was a chance that he could go to prison for life in the Czech Republic. But so the guy, for having no other reason to do than he just has integrity, he flew back to the Czech Republic and went through the process. It turned out that the video didn't show the actual death, and that it turned out to not be his fault at all. It just happened. Some kid just fell and hit his head. It's a freak thing. So he ended up getting let go. But and the band, they're not millionaires or anything, so they had to sell a bunch of equipment just to help pay for his legal fees and stuff. But out of a pure sense of do the right thing, this guy goes back to another country to stand trial. And that kind of thing, it gets me every time I think about it. I get choked up, because that's the kind of people who should be leading us. Those are the kind of people we should be electing to office. People with integrity. Agree. The integrity that the people who started this country had. They were they died. Some of them died, and some of them were ready to die for an idea, for what they believed was right. And I've always said this, this is one of the main philosophies that it's like my mantra. It's like, it only matters when it's hard. Integrity and doing the right thing, those things only really matter when it's hard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if it's easy, you don't have to try. But it's when your life's on the line, your back's against the wall, whatever, that's when integrity is important. And most people, they sell out to save their own ass. But the very few among us will stand and say no, even if it means their life. And I don't know. I can't think of anyone very many people that I met in my life who would do, and my dad included, probably not that kind of person, you know. So
Who is it?
yeah, not necessarily one person, but people who have that level of integrity. That's
Indeed,
what
man.
I want to be like.
It's impressive. Yes, it is. I didn't realize you were such a spiritual person. That's all right. So what happened after you got out of high school? What?
I immediately went to college up in Southern Oregon. I went to a little town outside of Portland called Newburgh. I went to this Christian college called George Fox, and you know, I took classes on the Bible, and you know, had to do seminary every 3 days, or not seminary. What do they call it? Chapel every 3 days, and just really, really steeped in theology and also while trying to, you know, my Christians, whatever spiritual lifestyle, all that, and but even that kind of served to kind of push me away, because again, you know, all I saw was the dogma, the business aspect of it, and that just really turns me off, because the churches that were my favorite to go to were the ones that were in somebody's living room or in some shitty building with no AC where everybody had to bring their own chair. Were people who were really committed to like having a Bible study, you're learning something, maybe, you know, doing better. Those are the committed people, the ones who will be not as comfortable and still go, as opposed to like the, you know, big giant churches where, you know, they got a huge sound system and it's an event, you know, it's like going to a concert almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not to say that big churches can't be totally, you know, because there are some, like I've been to some that were great, that weren't all about the money. They just had a lot of people that went, and they just, you can't stop the money from coming in. But I really did enjoy mostly the small ones, you know, where it's just a small group of really committed people who didn't give a shit about how things looked or how much money was being made or any of that, and they just met to study and to fellowship and to learn.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, so I only made it about a semester and a half before my just kind of whole rebellious attitude just kind of got the best of me, and I ended up focusing on everything but school. That's when I was on my own and really starting to get kind of, you know, learning how to be, you know, social, a lot more social, and just making friends and experiencing new things, going into Portland all the time. And, you know, you discover things, and, you know, kind of the world I got fascinated with, you know, what else is there out there, you know? And so I ended up getting kicked out for, it was just like my thing to do pranks and stuff, and I ended up on the dean's list of troublemakers. So at some point, they got too pissed off at me and some other people's antics, and they booted me. So
yeah, we're true with you.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much. It's a long story, and it's probably kind of boring, but yeah, I ended up leaving, and I did a couple more semesters at community college here in the small town, so just basic stuff.
Right.
Most of my education is experience and just doing lots and lots of different stuff.
So if you could go back in time and talk to little Sinrise at the age of 8, what would you tell him?
I know the exact moment, because I'm a time traveler already. I have to always constantly pull myself out of the future, the past in my brain, and learn and like enjoy the moment. I've always struggled with that. Gotten a lot better at it than I was as a kid in my early 20s and stuff. But I would go back to the moment to when I started playing around with BASIC, the programming language.
Mm-hmm.
Like BASIC, the first one. Where I had a book and I was copying down code, not understanding any of it, and just like doing little games and stuff, and then, you know, losing interest in it. I'd go back to that first moment and tell myself, hey man, learn this shit right now, and you'll be a freaking billionaire by the time you're 30, or at least doing really, really well, because that would have been the time to get into programming, man. Is late 80s.
Yeah.
Perfect time to like
learn
jump
to
in
code.
and start learning. 20 years after that, you know, I'd have a very, very valuable skill and be able to write my own ticket and probably be doing financially a lot better.
Indeed.
I wouldn't call it a regret, but if I had a time machine, that's probably what I'd do.
It's interesting you call it time traveling. That's what I do too. It's like if I'm focused on shit that's in the future or stuff that happened in the past, I call that time traveling too. That's
that's literally there. Like I'm not experiencing the present. My brain is speculating, imagining what's going to happen whenever, or I'm thinking about something that happened, who knows, 20, 10, 5 years ago, and I'm just there, and whatever's going on around me, like, might as well not even be happening.
Well, I had an old spiritual guru, one of the people that influenced my spirituality. He told me, he said, you put 1 foot on tomorrow and 1 foot on yesterday, and you're going to piss all over today.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, he was cool. He was crazy. They're all
it's not exactly Alan Watts, but it's good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I read a lot of books, a lot of crazy metaphysical, occult, just basic philosophy stuff, like Stuart Wilde and Watts, and just Leonard Orr. I went down the rabbit hole on a lot of stuff, and most of it is nonsense, but there's a lot of insight in there, and just in like, it all seems to kind of eventually end up teaching me something about myself and something I didn't know. And then I spent a few years doing kind of intensive work, you know, every few weeks. I got involved with a group that did seminars, like just basic, like emotional boot camp type stuff, where people with really serious emotional problems would come and try to get some sort of handle on their life, get some kind of experience, some kind of philosophy, something to help them with their struggles. So I got to see a lot of people with real challenges, man, just like really hard stuff, real crazy abuse and all kinds of stuff. And here I am with everything in my, every advantage, able-bodied, white male. And why am I struggling? What's my problem? And just being in that kind of environment and really focusing on, what's holding me back. What am I doing? What are the choices that I'm making that are keeping me from getting what I want? And questions like that, stuff like that really helped me kind of become somebody who wasn't afraid to try new things and especially like take on new challenges. I was always so afraid of anything challenging. And now I'm not. Now it's like, if I'm afraid of something and it's a challenge, I have to do it,
Right.
That's kind of the way I see it. So there's things I never would have tried to become a lead singer of a band, before I kind of, I don't know, came into my own confidence, or whatever you want to call it. I put myself I hung around with a lot of people who were really, really quick-witted and weren't afraid to give you a hard time, because I don't know what it was about that, but learning to laugh at myself did probably more good than anything else, as far as just like having revelations, or having a change, like a deep spiritual change. Learning to laugh at myself, something I can pinpoint as a major, like, pivotal point in my life. Certain things are just funny. Just because you're the butt of the joke doesn't mean that anyone's trying to.
The meaning is not funny too, right?
Right. And so, once I kind of got that, it really opened me up to a lot of different things, and had a lot of really good experiences that I wouldn't have even tried if I hadn't have done some work, done the kind of work that, probably a lot of people get when they're a kid, just being around other kids and getting in trouble and just doing things that kids. I just didn't get that experience. I worked.
Right.
And play with the kids sometimes, but mostly just work.
I think if you don't nurture your sense of humor, you end up like some of these assholes on, Twitter and shit that are,
I know. I'm so glad I didn't turn that kind of person.
Well, is I do this thing on communism, and the one thing that I've noticed that communists hate more than anything is shit that's funny. And
I know.
You fight it with humor. That's what I'm saying now. So, all right, I got a question.
Humor is important. It's such a mature thing to see the humor, even when it's jokes on you. It's like it takes quite a bit of I don't know. You just got to be, I don't know, an adult. And yeah, a lot of these people today, academics, whatever, they're just not adults. They're just kids that never grew up. They've never been told no. They never had to fight for anything, or they've never lost anything. You know,
it's amazing, and they're so they come off as like they're the most damaged people in the world. You know,
I know,
and it's like, dude, I've seen fucking damaged people.
Yeah,
you know, and I guarantee you that. Go ahead.
You serve in the military? No,
I didn't.
Someone else.
No, I
People
did
who
not.
serve in the military, they see damage. If they're not damaged themselves, they've seen how bad it can be.
Right.
And yeah, you don't hear from those people. Like, they're not out there protesting that they're living in a free country. Like, they appreciate what they've got, you know? Yeah. Participation trophy generation. Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh yeah. Right. Stories of beauty. Yeah. It's like they can't stand to, I don't know what it is about destroying stuff, burning stuff down, breaking statues, destroying beauty. It's such a sickness. It's not even like, it's just mental illness, you know?
Rampant, you know? Yeah. All right. So do you have a favorite holiday or season, time of year that really gets you fired up and puts you in a good, you know, happy frame of mind? You know, I don't want to say spiritual, but you know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's always been a hard question, because I don't really enjoy too many holidays, just because it's always a lot of people. And I don't really like hanging out in large groups of people very often, unless it's like a show that, you know, a band I really want to see, or something just that I'm really enthusiastic about, and everyone else there is too, and it's a thing. But just like going to like where a lot of people are, you know, like downtown areas, or just whether it's the 4th of July or New Year's and everybody's in the street, that's not my thing. So I've always celebrated, you know, Independence Day and stuff like that, just kind of at home and just in quiet contemplation, I guess. But so not really. I mean, obviously when I was a kid, Christmas or my birthday, those are the moments that you look forward to, you know, the holidays and stuff. But as an adult, I mostly look forward to, you know, when I can go with my girl and my dogs and just go to the creek and sit and look at nature and just be out there. But even in bad weather, wintertime, I still find like being out in the wilderness is just always awesome. Even when it's super hot, super cold, doesn't seem to matter. Like, I mean, it's nice when you can go out and it's sunny and it's cool and it's t-shirt weather, you know, that's the best time. But I can take any moment as long as it's out in nature. That's where I feel the most spiritual. The closest to God is when I'm away from all the stuff that people made.
It's like, yeah, solitude versus loneliness.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was the craziest thing you did as a kid?
The craziest thing? Yeah. Man, that's a hard one. I don't know, because I didn't do a lot of crazy things. And what I mean, the stuff that we used to do, just riding our bikes around, would be considered crazy by today's standards. We didn't wear helmets.
No, we didn't either. Yeah,
I would have laughed at the thought of having to wear helmets and falling off our bikes and our heads. Like, so we used to build ramps and go charging down the street.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a care in the world, or jump off the highest cliff possible and just into the water.
There was this movie about Evel Knievel that came out. Yeah, and I was building ramps, and I did put a football helmet on because Evel Knievel had a motorcycle helmet, right, and shit. And I was all about. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I grew up riding dirt bikes a lot. You know, we used to spend a lot of summers just, you know, camping and stuff, and so I drive around out there. That, you know, again, that part of solitude, you know, is being out there by myself on a dirt road, and Of course, I always wear a helmet and stuff, and I never really did anything that crazy, but it's probably the most intense physical stuff that I've done. Really, is just ride trails on a dirt bike.
That's kind of cool, though. All right, so what was the first concert you ever went to?
Oh my God! Probably it would have been a Christian band. I think it was like Newsboys or Petra or one of those.
Petra. That's a blast from the past.
Yeah, I think that was. I think it was probably Petra and Newsboys together, or Audio Adrenaline. I can't remember, but it was right around that time. But I mean, I've seen all the metal bands by now. You know, I've seen it. You name it, I've seen them.
Well, yeah, and that's where I kind of want to go now. Is kind of to your like your relationship with music, because I to be honest, I didn't know that you had sung or did anything. So talk about how that happened and how.
I mean, I've always kind of been a musician, just not necessarily proficient in an instrument, but I've always just had music in my head, one way or the other. There's always something coming out of me, and I didn't start channeling it into something constructive until my early 20s. I learned to play guitar, and I thought that's what I was going to do. I wanted to try to start bands, be the guitar player, but I ended up breaking my left wrist, and that's one of the, it's really hard to play. Learn to play guitar with your left, pushing on the strings, and your fingers stretching to try to play certain chords and stuff. It's pretty physical, and I couldn't do it after I broke my wrist for over a year because it hurt too much. So I couldn't even practice. But I had also been kind of training myself to sing, just because I liked it.
So what style? Were you like a Rob Halford type of metal singer, or were you more kind of like a growly kind of what?
Or growly?
Okay,
somewhere in between, I suppose. But that just kind of ended up being the style of bands that I found myself in. They needed the distorted singing. It's every bit as much singing as any other time. You just constrict your whatever that part of your throat is called, and you distort it. So you still use the same muscles in your stomach. You still use your diaphragm. You still project. You still have to carry. You still have to, well, not all of them, but a lot of singers, there's a tone there too. Because if you actually yell, if you actually scream, like they say, scream, people who scream, you'll destroy your voice. You'll destroy your vocal cords forever.
Right.
That's why Rod Stewart sounds like he does, because he was a heavy metal guy and he used to yell.
Mm-hmm.
And that ruined his vocal cords. He could still sing, but that's why he sounds raspy.
Right.
And he stopped soon before it became so bad that he could barely talk.
Yeah. Robert Plant,
Yeah. But John Lennon was one of the very first people to actually do that in Twist and Shout, where they call it a scream, but he's not screaming. He's distorting. He's singing distorted. And it's a legitimate technique. And I got I'd say pretty good at it there in the height of my music career. Yeah, man, as far as what music means to me, I'd rather be blind than deaf. If I couldn't listen to music,
dude,
I would not be a pleasant person at all. I would be impossible to be around, probably. Music it's really, really, really important to me, and I can't even imagine what life would be like without it.
Man, me either.
Yeah. And making music, and seeing people respond to it, even just a few people, it's one of the best feelings that I've ever had, and especially when you work really hard and you practice really hard and try to get good at it, try to make each song instinctual, like where you're not thinking about it, and you're at your best, and people recognize it. Even if it's 100 people, it's still just an incredible feeling. I never played in front of more than a couple hundred people in my whole life.
Yeah.
But the feeling that I got just from that, I mean, if I'd ever made it to a higher level than that, I mean.
There's a certain synergy that in an exchange between I sang for a band too. I've got a lot in common with you. It's creepy, man. Yeah. And and there's this kind of energy exchange, and it seems to, like, the more it goes, the more it feeds, and it gets more and more energetic, man. And then the mosh pit kicks in, and it's almost like a living organism, right?
It really is. I know exactly what you're talking about, and
good music, man. Shit, you bang your head.
The experience was always an event for me too, because I have stage fright, and it doesn't go away. At least for me, it never went away. But I got used to that feeling of, like, I am scared to the point of wanting to run away. And but I'm gonna do it anyway. And so I got used to that. I got used to that feeling of being petrified. But as soon as that first song starts, it's like I own this room, right? Like everyone in this place is now paying attention to me and what I have to say, or at least what I have to scream at them. And just having like extreme fear turn into, like, I don't know what to call it, power. I don't know, just total confidence, and just like that feeling of like having that band that's tight and everybody's into it, and it's just it's its own thing. It's its own organism that becomes alive,
Yeah.
It's freaking amazing. And I got addicted to that, like being afraid and then having it just transform in an instant,
Dude, it's a thing it's almost indescribable, that
it is,
that exchange, that all right, so you were in a band. How long did that last? And did it end amicably? And
no, I didn't have a single band that ended amicably. That was why I never ended up with a real career in music. Never made any real money, because it's the kind of thing that it'll call up whatever hang-ups you've got.
Oh, indeed.
Whatever comings, whatever bullshit, baggage, drama you've got in there, having just a tiny bit of success will bring all that stuff up all at once.
Absolutely.
And it's the fear of success, I believe, that kills most projects like that. Any kind of creative project where it's an ongoing thing where you have to do some sort of presentation, some sort of performance, some sort of live thing. It's like once you start getting a little bit of a taste of what it's going to be like, it scares the shit out of people, and they'll fuck it up just to keep things easy, just to keep things the way they are. Like at some point in a band, you got to kind of decide, well, I got to quit my job and go on the road, right? And that's a huge risk. What if it doesn't work out? And then you put all this time, you put months and months into this thing, and you have nothing to show for it, and now you don't have a job. Like, that idea, I think, is what gets people, knowing that you're going to have to keep performing at that level or even higher, and that it's not guaranteed. And it's not even the fear of failure. I think that is the worst. I think it's the fear of success that really gets people.
Dude, I think that you're bang spot on with that.
It's the responsibility, because the better you do in a creative project, the more responsibility you have to keep that shit going.
Well, I had a dude tell me one time, he said, man, you got 20 years to write your first album, and you got 6 months for the next one. Right?
Pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? So that, there's a lot of pressure.
Serious bands are putting out an album every 18 months, maybe even sooner, with the way things have been with COVID and all that,
I've seen some interesting shit though, on some YouTube channels, like 4 people in 4 different places, jamming. And it's like really good, and
that's something you could do if you've been a band for 10 years or so, and you know each other so well.
Yeah.
You know each other on a musical level, and you can communicate with each other just with music, with very little words, with no explanation at all. You send a track to someone, and they send you back that track with the drums on it, and it's just perfect. Like that doesn't happen just randomly. Like it takes so much sacrifice of your own, just like of your ego, to get along with 4 or 5 other dudes in a project that is on the level of a marriage, you know?
Absolutely.
And then there's all the work too. Like just being in the same room together is hard enough. And then you add pressure and creativity and just all of these things. You pile it all up, and no wonder most bands don't make it. And most bands, even the ones that do, that are making a living that you've never heard of, only a tiny percentage of those make a really good living.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And like that has gotten better and worse. Kind of the days of landing the record deal are long gone. Like that's not happening anymore.
Right.
But at the same time, that's put a lot of power into the hands of the artists themselves, because now distribution, it's not a thing. You don't have to pay for that anymore. The internet does that for you. It used to be a record contract. Most of it was distribution. They pay to get your CDs pressed and sent on a truck somewhere, and people would go to the music store and discover it that way. Now you have a million different ways you can market it yourself for almost no money, and you can put the music together yourself a lot easier than you used to.
Absolutely.
Especially if you know what you're doing and you know how it should sound, and you've got any experience engineering at all. Music, the costs are so low that a record contract is no value anymore. So that's good, but there's no more overnight rock stars, you know, not really.
Yeah. So how did females play into your band life?
Well, initially not at all, really. It was always about the music. Just loving it and wanting to do nothing but that. Because I was never the kind of guy who girls ever noticed, you know. But for the little that I did, that, you know, whatever the band became, like, I did get more attention, some attention, as opposed to none at all.
Right.
But so that was just kind of a cool thing, that all of a sudden now people seem to be interested in me, especially girls, you know. They would come up and talk to me. That was totally new. But I don't know how much that motivated me, right? Because none of that could have ever made up for anything like a shortcoming with the music or with the people. Like as cool as it was to be in a band and be around other bands and that whole scene, if the music wasn't working or the people weren't working, it was a nightmare. You just want to quit. You can't find the right people. You don't have a drummer for 6 months. Like, it's just the worst. So, yeah, it's fun times, but not fun enough.
Yeah, there's two sides to that coin, man, for sure. It's heaven and hell.
And I know a lot of musicians who didn't care. Like, they could just be in a shitty band for years and years and years and play music for a few people and just drive around and kind of bum around.
Yeah.
And they loved it, and more power to them, you know. But I was always very serious and wanted to always keep going, keeping going down the road and trying to get bigger shows and more shows. And
I was like that.
Practice more. Yeah.
I was an alcoholic with an ego problem.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, like,
you know what that looks like, don't you, bro?
Yeah, I didn't have an alcohol problem.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm sure you've seen that, right?
I've seen it, and my ego is no exception to that. My ego definitely I could have probably held the band together a lot longer were it not for my own ego. So, yeah. Ego
reductions, I think, when you talk about spirituality, I think that's an essential step, right? Into I'm not going to call it enlightenment, but to be more aware of spiritually, right?
Awareness in whatever sense to me is important. I mean, that's something my dad was always really good with, making good points, whether he actually followed them or not. But he would always use the example of like a wolf or a fox, not particularly smart in the intellectual sense, but extremely alert. And he'd always press that on me. It's like being alert, being aware. That's how you, first of all, that's how you stay alive. Second of all, that's how That's how you get better. That's how you
Right.
become more successful. Be more alert, more aware than the next guy. So you'll be there to grab an opportunity when it comes, instead of an opportunity passing you by and you didn't even know it happened. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, when did you realize that you girls weren't like interesting? We're kind of going to rewind a little bit, and yeah.
When did I learn that girls weren't interesting?
No, that you were attracted to girls.
When did I figure that out?
Yeah, how old were you? And
I don't remember. As far as I know, I was always attracted to girls, even when I was really young. I don't know. I'm sure there was a point where I thought they were gross, but the earliest memories that I can dredge up along those lines were liking the girls. Like, I remember like being really young in like 3rd grade or something, and being very interested in girls.
So, what about the first time you ever got fucked up? What was that like?
I was probably 25 before I got drunk. Like the only time I've ever been blackout drunk, I was with my wealthy friend in Las Vegas.
Oh shit! So is that staying in Vegas? Whatever you did.
No, I don't know. I guess because I don't remember. I remember 1 or 2 really short moments of that entire night. I remember the leading up to it, thinking, you know, we kept going to clubs. I'm like, man, I don't want to go. We have to go to clubs. Is there something else we can do? Doesn't sound like fun to me. And then I'd be there and like, this isn't fun. I'm like, maybe if I have a few more drinks, I'll loosen up and actually enjoy this. Like the dancing and everything. I just couldn't get into it. So I thought, I'll have another drink. I'll have another one. Maybe I'll loosen up. And that's all. That's the last thing I remember. Except waking up the next morning, still in my clothes and having no memory of the night before. So, and my friends were like, yeah, you were an asshole. We probably shouldn't talk about it.
Oh.
Apparently I'm not a really good drunk either.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's people ask me, when I crossed the line and becoming alcoholic, and I always say, I don't know, but I know I was drunk when I did it. If that makes any sense, I don't know. All right. So, what about relationships? Are you married? Are you thinking about getting married? You got a lady in your life? Kids? Tell me about that.
I got a lady in my life. We're not married, but we're cohabitating, and we got two dogs that are kind of like our kids, and we're living up here in the mountains, and I don't know, it's pretty awesome. Things are mostly good along those lines. We have our moments, but I'm pretty happy, and things can always be better. But I always try to count my blessings, to use a cliche, but that really does help me appreciate what I've got. Think about the things that are going good, because usually it outweighs the bad, and the bad things are, to me, they're either temporary or not that important. So I don't know. It's, it's day to day too. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really have a plan necessarily. I don't know. Just trying to enjoy life and make a good living, so I can. I'm really one of my goals, I guess, is to have my own shop again. I grew up working in metal and wood shops, and I kind of stopped doing that for a long time. I was a programmer for 10 or 15 years, and then mostly just an office worker before that, after I left home. Whereas I grew up working on engines and airplanes and doing construction, and
sweet.
I'm a qualified mechanic. I can work on cars. I can build stuff. I know how to do a ton of stuff. And I just really started to feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That trying to become a programmer and trying to live this life in a city and do this office job, it just stopped being rewarding. First of all, creative energy was not being used. and that tends to kind of, I don't know, collapse in on itself, and I start sabotaging stuff. I start fucking things up when I don't have a creative outlet. That was also part of starting Insomnus, because I was getting my creative energy was going nowhere, and I had to put it in something, or I knew I was going to do something stupid.
Dude, I totally identify with that too. Jesus.
But I realized that even writing code and creating things, it's just not the same. I got to touch stuff. I have to do it with my hands. I have to feel it and be able to see the object in my mind. And when it comes to programming, it's math. It's abstract. It's algebra.
Right.
And it's all conceptual and non physical. Right. It's really hard to represent much in algebra physically. And that's just the way my brain works. So, I mean, I was okay at it, and I focused more on like the design and visual aspect of things as opposed to hardcore engineering. I did kind of find a niche for myself, but it just that and working for a bunch of kids, I just couldn't do it. And I really realized that this is where I belong. I'm a country kid, and I love to build stuff and be physical, and so I got back to that. And I feel a lot happier. Cool. Even though I'm not making nearly as much money, but I also don't need that much money living up here. So
that's cool, man. Because, especially being a mechanic is definitely a skill. It's like if something happens, you know what I'm saying?
The apocalypse?
To the country or some shit.
Yeah.
Knowing how to fix, cars that don't have computer chips in them. And keep them running, it's going to be an important thing.
I agree. And that also was that was part of my decision too, because, right around 2016, 2017, 2018, people started to get really fucking weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel comfortable in the city. So on top of just wanting to get back to, building stuff with my hands, I wanted to get the hell out of the city, just almost out of just fear of being stuck there if things get really bad. And I guess maybe I was a little early, but I've been saying get the hell out of the city now for quite a few years. And I did it myself, and now you're starting to hear that. Tim Pool's all about get out of the city. And you hear it a lot. People are fleeing cities. And for good reason. It's not going so well.
Yeah, no shit.
Not very many cities are doing very well on every metric.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I did it when I did it, because it's given me some time to focus on making sure that I'm prepared to survive. And I'm in a place that is physically a pretty good position. It's defensible. There's land here. There's skilled people here, hunters, people who can build stuff, farmers. This little town I live in could be self-sustaining, and there could be 20,000 people here, and we could still probably sustain that many people.
Wow.
Country or no country, So I'm in Northern California, believe it or not. This is the most of California is red,
right?
But the city centers are blue, and they're those where the most of the people, so they make the decisions for everyone. And I tell people who are from other states who hate California, well, people who live up here, we hate that more than you do, because we live here. Like I always argue with Pinoid. He's always talking shit about California. I'm like, dude, we hate it more than you. You live in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right. He's not living there, man.
California, trust me, we have a lot more in common with rural people in every other state than we do, 4 hours away in San Francisco.
Yeah, Bon Sacco lives in Cali too, man, and he fucking hates it too. It's just everybody that I've talked that does, that's not a libtard and lives in LA or Hollywood. Right. To say, oh my God, it's horrible. And they're recalling the gov. So we'll see what happens. I wish you guys the best on that one. With folded hands and prayer and heart.
I appreciate that.
All right. So let's kind of shift gears and get into entertainment. What do you do for entertainment?
Oh man. I mean, I watch, like some of my favorite TV shows.
Yeah.
Like Alone. Ever heard of Alone?
No. What is that?
It's a competition where they get 10 hardcore survival experts, and they're allowed to pick 10 items, and then they kick them out of a helicopter into the wilderness. Actually, I think they take them by boat mostly, but you gotta survive. Whoever survives the longest alone wins, what, $500,000 or something like that?
Damn.
$1 million? I forget what it is. So it's fascinating because it's real. I mean, I can't imagine how they fake it. I suppose it's possible, but I like stuff like that where it's just about an individual out there alone trying to live off the land for as long as possible.
All right, I gotta interrupt briefly. Yeah. Big Dro donated another $5 and says, "I'd like to get pegged raw like a lot of Californians getting bent over by Newsom. Call me. My phone number is 555-5555. 50% off."
Well, to each their own, I suppose. But
yeah, man, I'm getting some creative slabs coming in. So, all right, yeah, all right. So you were talking about the survival show, right?
Any authentic survival show, I'm there. Life Below Zero, not completely a survival show, but mostly about people who live subsistence lifestyles. I just consider it education, because I feel like I may have to do some of that stuff here pretty soon. And it's entertaining to me too. I watch a lot of build videos on YouTube, I watch a lot of blacksmithing and woodworking. I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now. Even when I was living in the city for a couple of years, that's all I watched was knife making videos.
You know Stalvin?
Stuff, and that's really inspired me, and I'm halfway there as far as getting my own shop going.
Sweet. Yeah,
that's my dream, really, is to work this job that I'm working now to pay the bills and be able to buy equipment and live fairly comfortably, and build up my own shop, build up my own little business, and make that into something that I can survive on.
That's the thing. Yeah, I mentioned a guy named Stalvin. He's in my part of the country, and he did an interview here, and that's what he does. He works metal. He's got a forge and everything. Makes blades and shit. So it's cool.
My big stretch goal, I suppose, is to become a master blacksmith and a master woodworker. Because that's the kind of challenge I like. Something that seems almost too hard, or who knows how long it will take, type of thing. But that's just how I am. I take on big things like that, and I'm gonna give them my all for sure.
Indeed, man. I appreciate your enthusiasm for just wanting to get your hand wet. I mean, your hand. You're wanting to get
Yeah, and I will admit that Insomnist has taken less of a priority a lot because I'm focused on this job. Now that I actually just got a huge promotion, so I should be able to let off the gas a little bit, and actually, spend a little bit more time in the, out in the forest, as opposed to just here at where I live, and building my shop and actually, enjoying the money that I make rather than just making it.
Exactly. All right, so what about like things like sci-fi, horror, video games, anime?
Anime doesn't. I don't know, man. Something about the way they tell a story in most anime, it just drives me crazy. Like I just recently watched Death Note because I kept hearing how great it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the idea of it is better than the execution, because the way they tell a story, I'm so much more about having to really pay attention and figure out what they're saying and what's going on, rather than most anime where they spoon feed you the plot every 5 minutes. They keep reminding you what's going on. The characters are talking to themselves about what they're doing. It's just all so on the nose that it's hard for me to enjoy. So not a huge anime fan. I like stuff like, you ever watch that show Deadwood?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I like that because they talk around everything, and they're, whether it's realistic or not, I don't care. It's like more poetic, more almost Shakespearean, And that
Absolutely.
stuff I really, really, really like is things that are less obvious, more subtle, where you have to think about it. They're not explaining everything to you, you know. I like shows that don't make any sense for the first 4 or 5 episodes, you know. Things like that. Not necessarily. I really, really love sci-fi, but really, you know, anything that's creative and original and clever, I'll watch, you know.
All right, Big Dro with another 5 says, Cryptic has told me not to tell folks about my weird sexual habits, but I must tell folks that I like them big. I like them thick. I like them chunky. They call me Motto.
All right.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, man. Okay.
Stargate SG-1. I just saw Dumbbeard and Chigon in the chat. That's probably my favorite show of all time. I've watched it through 4 or 5 times. Watched it through with my girlfriend. Made her suffer through it. And that's one of the best sci-fi shows ever created. Even compared now, Star Trek: The Next Generation, because I grew up with it, so it always have a special place in my heart.
Absolutely.
But Stargate SG-1 is a better show. It is. It really is. So yeah, I'm definitely a huge sci-fi geek. It's just been kind of a wasteland lately. Like it's hard to find good sci-fi these days, especially in film or TV format.
All right, so Uzi and I just got finished watching for the 3rd time. There was only 2 seasons of this show. It's called Counterpart.
Yeah, I got to the 1st season of Counterpart, but I don't know what it is that took me out of that show. I really love what's his name, the actor.
J.K. Simmons.
Simmons is great. It's fun to just watch him. I don't know. I guess,
dude, there's so much like coof shit in it, man. And you know there's 2 Earths, and one says it had a pandemic, and it's really it's still like, and this was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm like going, and every time Uzi and I watch, it's like, God, this is weird. It is. So, it was so on the nose in places.
Yeah. I enjoyed the 1st season, but I guess when I started watching the 2nd, I don't know what it is. I just kind of lost interest.
Yeah, they had a little. There's kind of some wokey kind of stuff, you know, but they don't focus on that. You know, it's just they're Germans, man.
You know what? The best sci-fi that's come out in recent years on TV was Raised by Wolves.
Oh yeah, man. Uzi and I just got through watching that. And
so weird and original, and I don't know if it's based on something, but I don't think it's a remake of anything.
It's Ridley Scott.
Oh right, and just like no politics that I could really discern, other than just the basic commentary that you find in a lot of sci-fi, but it's so not in your face. It's so much about the characters and the plot. I've never minded messages in entertainment. It's when they start with the message and then write everything around it that you can tell it's shit. It's always shit when they do that. But when they start with some of the original story, and if there's messages in it, cool. If it serves the plot, if it helps character, you know, if it shows characters developing, you know, that stuff's fine too. Even if I don't agree with it, it still works. It's still fun to watch, you know.
Yeah, Raised by Wolves is an android that raises 2 human children.
The Mandalorian?
No, the Raised by Wolves. I'm answering Dr. Demers over there.
There's a lot more going on than that. There's a lot going on.
Oh no, yeah, exactly. And the whole religious thing, it's like
it's crazy.
And see, that's what I like about it, and you're touching on this thing, is that good sci-fi makes you think about political things. But if it's really good, it does it by showing you human nature.
Yep.
Right, and you see it reflected in politics or whatever it is. Right. You know, good art is always done that.
Good sci-fi is always very philosophical, and the cool thing about sci-fi, which you don't get with a lot of other, I guess fantasy too, but they get wrapped up in all the magic and stuff so much that something is lost. But whereas with sci-fi, there's always like moral conundrums that, especially like Star Trek: The Next Generation is absolutely famous for this, putting people in situations that challenge their like everything that you would only get in that situation where if you had a spaceship or warp drive or phaser guns or whatever, stuff that we can't really face, situations that we wouldn't be in today because we don't have that kind of technology. But yet, like, I just love how, especially with Star Trek, how they take a positive view of the future, but yet still humans manage to screw stuff up because they're not perfect. Because, you know, it's despite all the progress we've made, everything still comes down to people, and their desires and their, you know, their shortcomings and all that. But they put it in situations that really like accentuate that moral conundrum, you know, like making really kind of extreme examples of like moral questions and what's really right. Is Data a person or not? You know, like that stuff is to think about. That can be really introspective because you start thinking about what it means to be human and what's free will, you know. And to me, those are all good things to think about.
Indeed. It's like, you know, I don't know. In my opinion, the greatest science fiction movie ever made was Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. I don't know, man. I like Blade Runner, but I wouldn't call it the greatest.
Yeah.
I guess because I saw it later. Like, if it had been more contemporary when I, you know, when I had been the right age, I guess, maybe a little bit older when it came out, I probably would have appreciated it a lot more. But like, to me, the greatest sci-fi is Back to the Future, probably.
Oh, wow. That's a nice choice. Because it is sci-fi and it's actually entertaining as hell.
It really.
Have you seen The Expanse?
You watch it, it's still a perfect movie, you know.
Yeah, it really, and the whole mother thing, you know, I love this when he gets creeped out by the idea. Oh shit, that's my mom, man.
It's like I'm kissing my brother.
That's great. It's good, yeah. But Uzi had mentioned The Expanse, and that is some excellent sci-fi too.
I have it. I have all the episodes like saved, and it's on my list. I'm definitely gonna sit and watch The Expanse once and for all. I've tried it once already, and I didn't go back. But I've heard it so many times that it's so great that I'm gonna force myself to watch it. I know that I guess probably the first few episodes are a little hard to get through. I don't know, but I'll get there. I'll eventually find out what's so great about The Expanse.
Yeah, no doubt. What's cool is it takes place in kind of like a woke vision of the world, but it gives you an honest, like we were talking earlier, it's the human nature that reflects, and the characters are really well done. It's and the physics, all right, is actually they did the science homework on that shit. And everything, it's real, and I dig it, man. That's what turns me on about it, is that it's like that's what being in space would kind of look like, I think. And you know, space travel.
Whoa, Dr. Demers, I gotta address this. He says, I'd like to expand my sci-fi to more than Star Trek, Star Wars, and Futurama. What should I check out next? Oh my god, dude. Where to begin with that question? Stargate. I don't know. I'd start there because it's very accessible, and if you're not,
would you recommend
library of sci-fi that you've watched throughout your life? Check out Stargate SG-1. It'll suck you in.
Would you recommend they watch the movie and then the series, or just go straight into the series?
Watch the movie. It definitely sets up the series. I wouldn't say it's a requirement because the actors are all different.
Yeah,
but they did such a good job of creating those characters without copying them. They really do just a beautiful job of translating the characters from film to TV, doing them justice. The characters are carefully created, and it's a really good movie. If you can get past the abrupt change in cast, if you watch it back to back,
Yeah. Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Kurt Russell and James Spader replaced by Michael Shanks and Richard Dean Anderson.
Yeah.
It's a little jarring, but Michael Shanks does a better.
Yeah, he definitely owned that role, dude. I totally agree with that. Than Spader.
To me, Jack O'Neill is Richard Dean Anderson.
Yeah,
but was Kurt Russell. So
it's Kurt Russell, dude. Yeah, no shit. I'm queer for Kurt.
What's really about Richard Dean Anderson is that he was MacGyver, the original MacGyver.
Yes.
Such a hippie, right? Hippie attitude. He goes from that role to this straight-laced military dick, and he's such just a testament to how great of an actor he is to have done both of those characters.
Oh, Black Mirror.
So well.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I just yelled that out, but yeah, Tika said anyone like Black Mirror, man, that's some base sci-fi, scary shit. That's terrifying because it's so realistic. You know that there was one episode about the social, what's it called, the social credit system, and oh, dude, it's oh man, if you watch, right, you're bopping out, and then I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna pop you. Hold on 1 second. All right, Sinrise. All right, I'm gonna do this, and then get back in, and then see if that helps. All right, say hey. Oh, I can't hear you now.
No.
Say it again. I heard that.
I'm sorry, man. I don't know. My internet.
It's fucking Discord, man. Yeah, and then there's the California Potato Net. But yeah, I'm not ragging on you at all. You're awesome. All right, so this is the part of the show where I ask you, do you have any scars, tattoos, or piercings?
Yeah, I got the zero gauge, tubes or whatever in my ears. What do you call them?
Yeah, gauges.
Gauges.
Yeah.
Gauges. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have one tattoo on my right shin. It was the logo for my band that I kept since I quit the band.
It's like a girlfriend. Yeah. Dude, that cracks me up. This is so Spinal Tappy, right? Have you ever seen that? Oh my God, you need to see Spinal Tap. It's a great movie.
A long time ago, I saw This Is Spinal Tap, but I don't remember a lot of it.
Oh, it's painful, man. It's a painful watch if you've been in a band. Yeah. All right, so do you have any strange collections?
I don't know if you call it strange. I have a lot of Robotech stuff.
Nice.
We're talking about anime. It was kind of anime before anime was anime, but I have little models and all the books and all the comics and all the movies, VHS and DVD. I got a ton of stuff.
Dude, I'm a model builder, and I've got a couple of old Robotech models, man, that I've got to build. That's crazy, man. See, I told you there's weird parallels.
I know.
All right, let's see. All right, so go ahead.
Trying to make it into a feature film, Robotech.
Yeah, you see, I'm into this stuff called Maquet, which is machining Krieger. Have you ever heard of that? It's a Japanese, it's a very fucking obscure, niche little deal.
Yeah.
And they're going to make that into a movie too, so it'll probably be a thing in about 10 years. I hope so.
I don't know, man. The way that they've been doing stuff like that, what they did to the Dark Tower, made me want to never watch a movie again.
Yeah, see,
because I love Stephen King, and they fucked that up. Almost like they did it on purpose to piss off every fan who read the Dark Tower and wanted to see it made into a movie.
Well, have you ever read Stephen King on 4chan, man? God. He was such an asshole.
No.
Or on Twitter, shit. You know?
As a person, yeah, I try not
I'm
to get to know people like that, like famous people, because
I know.
you're always disappointed.
Yes, your heroes. Never meet your heroes, man. Dude.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right. So in 40 years, what will people what do you think people will be nostalgic for?
Oh my God. Say, 'cause it could be 5 years from now, everything could change. I think people will be in this for analog stuff, like, I don't know, maybe like older phones or something, or like carbureted engines. I don't know. Like, I guess people are nostalgic about that stuff now, but like, I don't know, man.
Well, if there's an EMP, we're all screwed, you know, because every car's got a chip in it now. Let's see. All right. So if you could know the absolute and total truth to one question, what would that be? What would you ask?
Really, just like ask God and he'll tell me.
Sure.
That would be.
All right.
I don't know.
That's
A hard question. I guess I don't know. Probably have to do with time, or maybe I would ask what is gravity. I don't know, something like that. I wouldn't be like, what's my purpose, or like, why was I created, or anything like that. For some reason, those aren't the first questions that pop into my mind. It'd be one of the long-running scientific mysteries that even the smartest people in the world have not been able to figure out at all.
Right.
I guess probably one of those would be what I'd ask.
That's awesome. Let's see. If you could go back in time and spend a week with anybody of history, who would it be and why?
Probably somebody from the 1800s, like early America, like Wyatt Earp, but not like the movie Wyatt. Like, it would be the Wyatt Earp that we all know, not the real guy, because he probably wasn't that interesting. But if like the Wyatt Earp from the movies was real, I probably want to hang out with him, or maybe Wild Bill, somebody from that era.
Yeah. Well, Wyatt Earp was weird.
Bohannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, with I don't know, something like that.
Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday. Just anybody from that time who was famous, who did a lot of stuff, just to like talk to them about the way the world is now and find out what they think about it. Just, like
Indeed.
It's not so far back that you wouldn't be able to have a conversation. But like, if you were to go talk to somebody in Roman times and try to talk to them about modern stuff, you'd have to discuss a bunch of boring shit to get there. But I feel like somebody from the 1800s, it would be a more interesting conversation because they'd be able to understand things a little bit better. I don't know.
Yeah, indeed. And that would be more eloquently spoken, Yeah. All right. So this is the point where I do what's called the pivot questions, or the Lipton questions. I don't know if you ever saw the Actors Studio, inside the Actors Studio. Yeah. All right. So, and he asked everybody, James Lipton, who passed away. So I started doing this in his honor. What's your favorite word?
I think I have this one.
Did you say something?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a word, but I've come to play this question because of James Lipton asking it, but I don't know, man. Matrix? I don't know. I can't. I feel like I can't think of something.
What's your least favorite word? That's fine, man. Just say whatever pops in your head.
Can't.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
music.
What turns you off?
Whining.
What?
Explanation why you didn't do something. I don't know. Like laziness and whining.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right. So, what's your favorite curse word?
Come on, can I say it?
Yeah.
Can I say it on your channel without getting you in trouble?
You can say anything you want to on my channel, man. I'm out of fucks,
Nigger.
brother. Whoa, okay. Yeah.
Not because I'm not racist, it's just that word is so powerful, and it gets such a reaction that like it's just a fucking word. It's like something you can say that has such a profound impact.
That's funny.
That it's the best word.
That's great. All right. So, what sound or noise do you love?
The sound. Okay, my ASMR is footsteps on gravel.
Oh wow! All right. What noise?
Something about.
Go ahead.
Especially my own, like just walking and just focusing on my footsteps, especially when it's like a little bit of gravel on the pavement, it crunches just right. Something about that just relaxes me. I don't know.
That's cool. What noise or sound do you hate?
Like styrofoam being squeaked against itself, or felt.
Ooh.
Probably felt, because it's almost inaudible. I can still hear it, and it still raises hair in the back of my neck.
Yeah, I get that totally. All right.
The sound of a felt tip pen on a piece of 20-pound bond makes me want to rip my ears out.
Dude. Well, all right. So, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt? You had the time and ability and freedom and shit.
Blacksmith or a woodworker, preferably both.
Nice.
If I could just be the best at something like that overnight, it'd be something like that. It'd be building something really fine, really nice that someone would pay $10,000 for. One of them. Yeah.
Indeed. What profession would you not like to do?
Oh my God. Probably work like being a waiter. Like a waiter at Applebee's. Something like that. In the middle of
Yeah, get your flair and shit, right? All right, so in the last one, of course, is I'm not gonna. What would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Yes, you could welcome. Like, good job. You tried as hard as you could to do everything right.
Oh yeah.
There's a Devil Driver song about that. It's called "Dream Died," and it's about him. He dreamed he died and ended up at the gates of heaven, and God said, "Did a good job, son. Did the best you could do." And I guess first time I heard that, I thought, yeah, man, that's what you want to hear, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so this is the time for the chat to queue up their questions for you. All right, and we'll give them a couple minutes to go ahead and start. Remember, put multiple question marks before and after, or at either. And if you want to make a statement, make sure you put exclamation points in it, so I'll know that it's to be stated.
Ryan said something. He said, "The more off limits it is, the funnier it gets." I think that's one of the reasons why you and I get along so well. Yeah. I have that's my kind of humor. If it pisses people off, that's what I'm about. Like, and especially when it's something that should piss you off, but it does it better. That's the best, you know?
Right.
People get pissed at stupid shit. That's the greatest.
Well, see, man, I grew up as a fat kid, right? And so I was told whenever my feelings got hurt, and they got hurt a lot, right? Sticks and stones may break my bones and words will never hurt me. And at some point I internalized that, you know, and we've got, we got a shitload of snowflakes.
There's so much wisdom in that little quip. It's something that you learn as a kid, and it's something that you say, but like, how often do people really look at that and go, what does that really mean? It means a lot. It's pretty important. I would say integral to having a good society, to having a peaceful society, I would say progressive, but in terms of actual progress,
right?
Making things happen. You got to be able to talk to each other without freaking out.
Okay, I got some questions for you from the chat. Duck Dog asks, do you watch AVE on YouTube?
Not sure what's AVE.
Or A versus E, maybe? I don't know. I don't either. Sinrise.
Is it a crowd? It sounds from. Yes.
Why are you such a prude about feet pics? Bubonic acts.
I'm not a prude. I just think they're gross. I just think feet are gross.
That'd be your feet pics. It's like,
I'm a little. I don't really like to be touched by people who I don't like. It's not with my girlfriend and stuff. There's no hang up at all.
If us
average like coworkers,
yeah,
I'm not huge on physical contact with everybody, So body parts mostly I'm not super interested in.
Right. If I said people pick up my feet, man, they'd never ask that shit again. Somebody I don't know. I guarantee you that. All right. What's your favorite object-oriented language? Object of hate. X.
Well, I don't know. I don't feel qualified to answer that question, but I mostly worked with PHP, JavaScript, and a little bit of C#. So I'm not a good enough programmer to say what my favorite object-oriented programming language is. I never got good enough to have a favorite.
What's your favorite painting? That's a good question. What?
I don't really have one. Honestly, I appreciate art, but I've never appreciated it so much that I even have a favorite painting that I can even think of. Really, I'm sure if I look through some art, I could find some that I like a lot more. But I don't know.
I get it. What's your favorite album cover? Oh, I said that one. That's an art question.
Oh, yeah. Tool. Their second album.
Tool what? Did you say?
The red one, Cage, but the one after that, the one with the weird animated lift thing they had. Absolutely, that album changed my life.
What album again? You keep breaking up.
Tools. It's Tool's second album. It's called Anima.
Yeah.
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 That album cover.
That is a cool album
mostly
cover.
Because of the music.
Yeah.
Just that album coming out, it just kind of marks a turning point in my life. That's really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, their cover of No Quarter is the best cover ever. With that, I mean,
they put that on Salival. That's a little EP they did.
It's awesome, dude. Let's see. All right, so this is always asked in this portion of the show. What do you think of Barbara from the channel Barbara for You to See, Barbara for You to Relax, Barbara 2.0, the Barbara Horvat? You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't even know she had multiple channels. I'm only aware of Barbara for You to See.
Yeah.
I haven't watched her lately, but I thought she was hilarious. I met her at VidCon briefly, but it's just really funny.
Yeah, she's just cute as shit.
English is their second language. They're really funny in English.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
She's amazingly funny. You should see the video she released today. It's kind of an ASMR, and she's out in the woods. So it might fit with what you're into. It's funny. It's funny as hell. Yeah, because she's, I really like her stuff too. To be honest, I don't mind him asking that question every show I do. What's your favorite color?
Green.
If you could, at no cost, take a flight into space and spend a month on the International Space Station, would you? No guarantee of safety, normal risk level.
Do you really have to ask that question? Absolutely.
I hear you.
Absolutely.
Do you prefer a microkernel or a monolithic kernel?
Is it another programming question?
Yes.
I don't even know.
It's object, man.
I could not explain to you what a kernel is. So, I have some idea. I don't think I could find it right.
See, every time I do an insomnist based interview, it ends up being just intensely cool. The people, if you're not subscribed to this channel, you're a moron, because it's such a great chemistry. It's a great group of people, and it works.
I miss it. I miss it.
It's like
it will. I vowed it shall happen.
Good deal. All right. See, he is a young Earth Christian or an older. Are you a young Earth Christian or an old Earth Christian?
Old.
What's buried in that chest at the bottom of the garden?
What?
He said, what's buried in that chest at the bottom of the garden?
What garden? I don't understand the question.
I think that's object, man.
Garden in the English sense, you mean the yard? What we in America call the yard, or the backyard, they call the garden. I don't know, man. I have to dig it up and find out.
Nifty. See, I didn't know what he was talking about either. Oh. What's your biggest fear?
What was I didn't catch that?
What's your biggest
fear?
Yeah, what's your biggest fear?
Probably like being paralyzed and not being allowed to die.
Oh wow.
Something like that, where I can't take care of myself anymore, and I'm just like bound to a chair for the rest of my life, something like that. To me, I think about that a lot. Like, not being able to take care of myself physically sounds like the worst thing ever.
I hear you.
So,
I hear you. Why do engines smell funny? It's INJUNS. I'm not going to assume anything.
It's because of the wide game they eat, probably.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
What's your favorite Marvel and DC characters?
Hulk. The Hulk and Superman.
Sweet. All right, ever seen...
Easy one.
All right, hold on. Favorite Smashing Pumpkins song? Original Asherella asks.
Oh, that's hard. I'm gonna say Quiet. Quiet or... Oh, man. Cherry Brock is so good too. Oh man, why do you have to ask me the hardest question ever? I guess a gun to my head, if I had to pick one, it would be Quiet from Siamese Dream.
Nice. Have you ever seen Boku no Pico?
No, because I don't even know what that is. So if I saw it, I didn't know what I was looking at.
I don't either, dude. If you had to live in a different country, where would you want to live?
Alaska.
What bands are left on your country list? I'll accept that answer.
Like Ireland or somewhere with a lot of country, maybe England, somewhere in the forest. I don't know. Somewhere rural. Doesn't really matter.
Let's see. Have you ever seen Boku no Pico? What does that mean?
That's the same question. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So, which bands are left on your bucket list?
Does it have to be a band that there's any possibility of me seeing?
Yeah.
Like I would love to see Rush live, but that's never gonna happen.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. I would have loved to see Led Zeppelin live. Basically, like bucket list band. I've seen the bands that every band that I've ever wanted to see that's still alive or still. I mean, Neil Peart can't play drums anymore, so they're not gonna. I don't think they're recording any music anymore. So,
well,
yeah,
it
would be, you know.
Alex Lassen. All right, so this happened actually this week. He started his new website, and I think he's going to be putting out music at some point.
Geddy Lee put out an album called "My Favorite Headache."
Yes,
sounds just like Rush.
Yeah, I know, right? But Alex had a more problem after Neil died, and he was like, "I'm never going to play guitar again."
Damn. Yeah, definitely not gonna be able to see Rush again.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know Neil Peart was dead?
I knew that. I forgot. It was in the news. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, man, it was so. I saw him back in the day. I'll tell you all about that next week. Let's see. What?
Yeah. I could see their last tour, Clockwork Angels. I could have gone to see him, but I didn't take the opportunity.
Dude, see, I turned down seeing AC/DC with Bon Scott. So, but they weren't who they were. It was a Highway to Hell tour. Dude.
I never got to see Nirvana or Soundgarden or Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains is still around though.
Yeah.
So maybe see them someday.
Dude, Cantrell's a wicked guitar player.
Yeah.
All right. Who is the one person you would 7 days? I don't know what that means either.
7 days.
I don't know. All right. How awful is the Carol Danvers movie? He won't say it.
I don't know if, I guess it could be worse, but so bad I can't even. I don't know. Just the worst.
They turned the scrolls into fucking. I don't want to say it to illegal immigrants. I'll say that. What is the weirdest sexual thing you have ever done? That's a rather personal question.
I don't know. That's not very interesting. Nothing that weird. Nothing that would be interesting.
If Trippy here were here, he would ask if you've done butt stuff. Let's see. What do you think of the fact that Seth Rogen is going to make a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie?
Seth Rogen's an asshole, but I don't know if he's a bad movie maker. He might do a good job. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say anymore, dude. Like, it could go either way, I suppose. I mean, I'm going to say Michael Bay did a good job with the first one. Second one should have been 2 movies because they fucking rushed through it. But I don't think that was a bad version of Ninja Turtles, so it can be done. And I mean, like, I don't like Seth Rogen's politics, and I think he's kind of an idiot, but that doesn't mean he can't make a good movie. I don't know, man. I'm not hopeful. I would bet against it. Just say that.
All right, kitties or doggies?
But I bet against pretty much everything. They're making another fucking Matrix movie, and I'm betting against that. And that's how it's all time.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right. So cats or dogs?
Dogs. I don't hate cats, but I definitely prefer dogs.
Yeah, me too. Are you comfy right now? Bubonic cat. And how do you get comfy? So. I mean, he's like, he's throwing comfy at you.
Actually, it's so hot. I had to turn off the AC to be able to do this without a bunch of noise in the background.
Oh, dude, you turn on your AC. Don't do that, man. I've got a little music in the background. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen?
Right up. Huh?
What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen?
Oh, dude, that's another hard one.
Oh, wow.
See? I see weird stuff all the time. People, I guess a video of young white kids protesting the fact that they're living in a free country. That's pretty weird to me.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yes.
That's a great answer.
The political stuff for the last 4 or 5 years has been fucking weird.
All right, so we're wrapping up with the chat questions. You were awesome, chat. Thank you so much. All right, so we're kind of at the end of the line. I've got a couple more questions. They're all YouTube focused. All right, who would you say is a criminally undersubscribed YouTuber on this corner of YouTube? Who would you like to promote?
I mean, other than you, like I'm looking at your subs, and it is criminal. Pinoid News. I don't understand how Pinoid doesn't have 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
He's entertaining as hell, and just smart. Like these people that.
Well, he needs to learn how to speak English, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he makes an effort to not sound smart, but we all know how smart you are, Tom Peace. But anyway, he's just entertaining.
Indeed,
I
man.
don't understand why he's not. And he puts out content too, and
he does,
it's good.
man.
And I just understand how he's not huge. By all rights, he should be.
I think he's wondered why he's not huge too. I'm kidding. I meant another way. All right, who would you say is a YouTuber that's overhyped and somebody you just don't get it?
Oh my God, it's like 1 million of them. All the most popular ones. Like the YouTube channels that you see if you log out of YouTube and see what's popular, and you watch some of that shit, and it's just like, what? Like people who talk, like rich teenage girls who have shows where they talk about the stuff that they love. Yeah, I don't get that, dude.
I know, man. Like that. All right, so
I don't
like,
even know how to, I don't even know.
You remember? All right, so there was a like a little scandal about these people in Hollywood were like paying like big money to get their kids, into college because their kids had shitty grades or no grades.
Why was there controversy? Who cares?
Well, no, but one of them got mad at her mother because she didn't want to go to college because she was making so much money on YouTube.
And she's right.
She was filthy rich.
That's a really good point.
No shit.
I don't know, man. It's good to learn a skill, I suppose, just in the survival sense.
Well, the IRATE prostate cosmetic line is coming out in a couple of months, and I would say, so hit my DMs, and it's $250 for a palette of especially.
I get the cosmetic videos. I get the makeup videos. That's the information that people can use. I mean, I don't wear makeup, but I can see how that would be useful. I think it's just legit as a wood crafting video. I mean, some of the stuff it's just art. But it requires skill. I couldn't put makeup on. It's a skill, definitely. I can recognize that. I'm talking about people who just sit in front of the camera and talk about their lives, talk about all the free shit that they got, and like that stuff. Like that speaks to a generation that.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even know what question to ask on that one.
Right. All right. Do you have anything new content-wise in the works? You have anything you've been thinking about doing?
Yeah, I've got a lot of ideas. I've got a start on some stuff that I've had to start on for a long time. Kind of a bit of a rebrand just visually. I don't know. I've been thinking about. I've got some ideas for something a little more interactive with people who can take a little bit more of an active part in what things look like on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm experimenting with some stuff, and I've got some new ideas that I plan on once I get my computer fixed. I'm on a MacBook right now, and it's an old one. I can't do any video editing on it or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get my PC back up and running, I'll be able to finish the whole kind of theme that I've got going on. assuming that Ryan is cool with it. And then we'll hopefully, once Ryan is back to a place where he can put more time into the show too, because he's got stuff going on, we're going to dive back in, and I think we're going to keep going with the same basic content-wise, the same basic idea we've been doing with the Waco, whatever I don't know what we call it, like history retrospective or something like that.
Or what more would I use? It was like ensuring that history is correct, right? Because that's all historic available, right?
Yeah, stuff that wasn't that long ago that's still relevant today. You know, Waco's here. It's mentioned every once. Steven Crowder mentions it every once.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's that kind of stuff where it's like stuff that still matters that we seem to have forgotten about.
Well, think about this. All right, so they're rewriting the story of the Alamo and they're converting it into a civil rights museum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
It all. You know, that's when I see the trailer for the remake of Back to the Future, that's probably going to be a wrap for me. Like that's what I know.
Bye-bye.
The end of the world is coming any second.
That's right. Let's see. All right. So, boom. What do you think? Go ahead.
This is when I moved to Alaska and build a cabin and live with no electricity and just forget about the world when they remake Back to the Future. That's it. I'm done.
Well, so what will
I'm done participating.
Yeah. What will break the internet? Is that kind of what
break?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Nothing. You can't break the internet. The internet is
eternal.
The internet is not a thing. It's not. It's like not one thing. The internet is like it's like saying it's like this. I don't know. There's nothing like it. There's really nothing you can compare the internet to. It's the ultimate expression of chaos, I guess. It's not centralized. It doesn't depend on any one government or any one corporation. It would survive every EMP. It would survive the zombie apocalypse in some way. It's unprecedented in human history, so I don't know, man.
All right, and before we part, it's tradition that you share your channel and give a final word to the chat and the people watching, and then we'll do an outro, and we are completed. This has been great, man. You've been awesome. I'm so grateful.
It's been fun.
Well, and
have me on,
dude.
Man. Just check out our Discord because we're not doing streams. It's on this isn't streaming at the moment. Check out Object of Hate has been doing some stuff too. I think called it Outsomnus. I don't know if he's still doing it, but we're still active on our Discords. Stay tuned there. It's pretty active for a small time Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And Outsomnus will return with streams someday.
All right, and let's. Will somebody pop a link into your Discord in there?
Yeah, it's outsomnus.com/Discord.
Indeed. All right, cool. And let's see. All right, so final word for the chat. All right, so tomorrow Becca and I will be doing. I think we're going to do the lives of others and see if we can get away with it on Twitch. If not, I may build a new. I may build a new Discord server just for this anti-communist shit we're doing, and make it like a members kind of thing, so we can all gather together because it gets every time I do one, it gets yeeted on fucking Facebook, and then we had to leave YouTube because she, I just dodged another bullet, anyway. Of course, we got Creem stream every Friday. I got to do something to fix that too. Extreme, accelerated deconstruction, extreme accelerated deconstruction, or XD as we like to call it. I don't know what we'll be talking about. We talked about Carl Borshenko's meltdown last night, and it went for almost 3 hours. It was great. And I highly recommend that. It was a good bunch of people. Virgie joined us, and that was funny as shit. And this time next week, it's going to be me answering y'all's questions. I'm terrified.
You're going to interview yourself?
No. It's all right. So part of the deal is, all right, so you get an invite to the Friday night show, A, and B, next week, if you want to pop in and ask me, come up with one or two or three questions.
Oh, okay.
Right. And pop in and Uzi's going to be tard wrangling me. So,
all right.
Yeah, so yeah, I've gotten some response to this. So it'll be the 150th episode of Ice Cream Interviews, and it's 4th of July. So let's all get together and have fun. And on that note, man, I'm out of shit to say. How about you?
All right.
Ready?
Yeah, man, it's been fun. Thank you very much for making the time and all that.
You're fantastic, man. This is once again, an excellent show, and it's all about you, man. I'm speechless. Sometimes these are so fun. I don't know what to say, so I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to shut up.
You said it all.
That's right. Say goodbye.
All right. Later, everybody.